Good morning. Welcome to lesson 3 of our character description and setting description work on the borrowers. Like I said, this is lesson 3. If you haven't done lesson 1 and lesson 2, I suggest you go back to do that. Today looks a bit different because I had to pop into school because my village internet is amazing. So for the second day running, there's a problem on the line. So I'm trying a different way to record because I'm using the work computer. Hopefully it will work the same, but you might see me rushing about a bit trying to make it work. So today is all about your setting description and wrong way out. We are focusing on where your character lives. Okay, so we talked a bit about where in the borrowers we were looking at. We were looking at the borrower's village. And this is entirely up to you whether you want to set your character in the village or indeed in a house, just like the borrowers we know, Mr. and Mrs. Clock. So I'm just going to take you through to where have I gone? I'm just going to take you through to, just like that. Got to take my camera off, put my camera on there. There I am. Brilliant. So I'm going to just take you through to the borrowers, the main scene. Yeah. So this was set inside a house, a normal house, and the borrowers lived underneath the floorboards. So that's an option that you can do that. But if you notice, when we go down into the floorboards, all the climbing gear and everything you see has been borrowed. So you can see this Christmas light, a candle from a birthday cake.
You really expect me to believe
pencils on the walls.
Yeah. Oh, what's about the bank?
The Amazon box full of it. Rubber bands.
What Hoover?
And they're all much bigger.
Don't be silly, Etty. Your dad's far too clever to get mixed up with those creatures. You'd have to be a complete idiot to go upstairs when there's beans about.
That's right. What you've got to realise is borrowing is boring.
So, lots of the setting has been made up. So you see, notice this big kitchen table. That is a jam jar lid. And everything you see has been made out of items from the house. So this makes it a really interesting description. So I just thought, I found this clip from Jeremy Strong that I thought I'd share with you.
Now, I'd like to read you a little bit of the Indoor Pirates. The Indoor Pirates lived at number 25 Dolphin Street. They didn't want anybody to know that they lived there, so they took the number off the front door. Then they hung a skull and crossbones flag from the chimney pot. The Indoor Pirates tried hard to be ever so wicked, but they weren't very good at being pirates. First of all, they didn't have a boat. It's sad but true that people's concentration spans aren't terribly long, and if your story starts very, very slowly or in a rather boring way, then people won't want to read it. And, maybe the story gets brilliantly exciting later on, but unfortunately you might well have lost your reader before they actually get to that bit. They may have given up and thought, this isn't very interesting, and they'll have changed it for something else. So it is important to try and get your story off to a good start and give the reader an idea of some kind of hint of what kind of story it's going to be, what's going to happen as quickly as possible, so that they feel drawn into the story straight away.
Okay, so Jeremy Strong is saying a really strong start is a wonderful thing to do. So we are going to be describing our scene, our borrower's house and where they are. We can describe all the different parts of the house, and we can really use our imaginations. All the small things around your house, they can all of a sudden be something else. So, like, for example, a key. Not just be a key, but it could be like a mini saw hanging up on the wall, ready to cut some pencils to make walls or something like that. It could be the jam lid that is now all of a sudden a kitchen table. It could be a yogurt pot that you can have as like maybe a bath or something like that. Very interesting, but it grabs the reader's attention straight away if we write it well. So the task today is to create your character's living space. That can be underneath the floorboards in a house, or it could be of your own making completely, which is really exciting. So I've got, as always, I'll put the clip of the film onto the work. I've just stopped it at 7 minutes 23. So you'll have the WeTransfer of the clip. I'll also put in this. So these are sentence openers. So I'd really like you to have a look at when you're starting your sentences. Use time conjunctions, use order, use where. Like preposition is really important. So that's something we can really tick off as a year 3 criteria is Mr. White is next to the computer. The jam lid lay across as a table next to the cotton reel chairs, for example. Now, so I'm going to drop these into the box. I'm also going to put on some set and description words. These are word banks that we can use. Just to give you some ideas, and also they've got some good spellings on there because some words, panic-stricken, for example, might be difficult to spell. So grotesque, lovely. But you've got to imagine when you're describing this, we like our characters, hopefully, and we want to describe them in a positive light. So try not to make it too eerie. So I've got this features of set and description, and we're going to look at the first couple of slides. So I'd really like you to think about what you can see, what you can hear, whether it's the human beings up above, stepping ever closer to where you enter and exit your house. What can be tasted? Now that's an interesting one, but maybe if your character lives underneath a kitchen or down in the sewers, maybe that's a very specific taste and smell go together quite well. So maybe the taste in the air is of the fresh bread that the human beings are cooking on that particular day. And also what can be felt. So is it dusty there? Is the mum of the character constantly tidying up? Maybe the dad in the character is constantly cooking or tidying or on adventures and comes back smelling of like fires or something like that. Just like Mr. and Mrs. Clock. Maybe that will feature quite well into your description. So the questions you've got to ask yourself are, what might you see in a setting? What might you smell? What might you hear? What might you feel or touch? And what might you taste? Well, that links quite nicely to smell. Okay, I would also really enjoy some figurative language. So we've got preposition, that would be really good to see. Where you describe something as next to something else or underneath something else. Figurative language is the next one. So we're talking similes or metaphors. So figurative language is the use of words in a way to convey a different meaning from the literal interpretation. So to make our writing more interesting and engaging to the reader, which is what Jeremy Strong is saying, it needs to impact the reader straight away. So I'll give you a few examples. So metaphors compare two things by stating that one thing is the other. So for example, your room is a bomb site. It's not saying a bomb has gone off in your room. It is comparing your room to the devastation that would be in a bomb site. And that allows the reader to know exactly what you're imagining in that room. There were lots of different sounds in the forest, would be a literal sound. The forest was an orchestra playing a symphony. That's figurative, that's a metaphor. It's not an orchestra, it's a forest. But you can imagine the sound that's going on there. Okay, and similes. Similes compare two things like the other or as the other. So for example here, there were colourful fallen leaves all over the forest. Now that's literal, there are colourful fallen leaves. But the figurative way of saying it, the simile, the fallen leaves looked like a colourful carpet on the forest floor. It's not a colourful carpet, it's a bunch of leaves, but that's a nice figurative way of doing it. So similes and metaphors will be amazing to see in that. So we've got similes, metaphors, similes, metaphors, preposition, and we've also got some personification, which is a bit more difficult to get into the home, but if you'd like to, you can give it a go. It's often used for trees and other inanimate objects, which means objects that don't live. So it gives human qualities or emotions to objects or animals. So the corrie tree had been there for many years. Turns into the corrie tree had proudly stood their ground for many years, just like a person might stand their ground. So it's personification, it's giving human characteristics to something that isn't human. Okay, so we're not going to use that. So we're looking at sites and figurative language and really getting that description in. You can use your own home as a setting if you'd like. It's entirely up to you. It's entirely your call in that respect. Now, I've got here a setting description checklist. So, include an introduction, describe what can be seen, heard, smelt, felt, describe the atmosphere and the mood. Now, with the clocks, of the group of the family of borrowers, the mood is quite tense because the father is out borrowing, and he almost gets caught. So you can kind of cut the mood with a knife. It's so the tension is so strong. So what's the mood like in the house where you're living? It would be good to use that same kind of feeling. Use figurative language to create effect. So use similes or metaphors. That'd be amazing. And really, we're looking at 2 or 3 paragraphs. But today, we'll do this over 2 days. Today, it might help to draw your setting. You get a really good picture going on of all the different elements. Think about what the furniture is made of. Sort of think about if it's a bedroom or a sitting room or a kitchen, and what different small items around your house you could use for the borrower's house. That's today's, and then we'll start. We could label it, or we could just start writing some ideas. Just a warning, we are going to either rewrite or write this in full tomorrow. So we're going to have maybe, again, the 3 paragraphs of different settings. Okay. So I wish you good luck. I hope everything I've given you will help. And I'll save this again on a WeTransfer and I'll post it into Class Dojo. Some people are having problems with Google Classroom, and because I don't really understand it, I'm just leaving it there for now. And so I'll post all this onto onto Class Dojo. So I hope you have a good day, and I'll speak soon.